Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into the Sievers Center on the campus of beautiful Rockford University. NAC basketball action for you today. Concordia University, Wisconsin Falcons traveling to Rockford to take on the Rockford Regents. Josh Keener here reporting, joined alongside by Tyler Ratz. Tyler, welcome in.
Happy to be here, and another huge NAC matchup for the Regents. Tough loss to MSOE on Wednesday, but that's the beauty of conference basketball. You feel you let one get away from you earlier in the week, you have another opportunity coming shortly from that loss. So very important game for the Regents as they continue to fight for that conference tournament berth. We are in the final month of regular season basketball here in conference play. Excited to see how this one shapes up.
Absolutely. Regents haven't lost back-to-back home games all season, looking to continue that trend today and rectifying that loss to MSOE on Wednesday night. Taking a look at the starting lineups for today's ball game. For the CUW Falcons, number 2, Jared Jers gets the start. Jers averaging 10.6 points per game. Leading scorer for the Falcons, number 24, Jordan Johnson. Johnson comes in averaging 17.2. Johnson had a great night on Wednesday against Dominican, posting 31 points en route to a CUW victory. They barely nipped the Stars 90-81. Joey Zietlow gets the start as well for the Falcons, along with number 4, Lake George, and number 15, Brandon Keller. That rounds out your CUW Falcons starting lineup. For your Regents, Brandon Emmerich leading the way. For Rockford, he'll be joined alongside by P.J. Gray III, Vincent Eugene, Jamar Rivera, and Cavante Shaw round out your Regents starting lineup.
And of course, Coach Riegel, as he's known to do this season, mixing up the starting lineup once again, shaking things up a little bit from that loss Wednesday night to MSOE. What I'm really interested in today's matchup is what does Rockford do defensively against the Falcons of CUW. You look at a guy like Jordan Johnson, who dropped 31 points the other night against Dominican, 20-plus points in 6 games this season, 10-plus points in all but 1 game. But that might not be where Coach Riegel wants to focus the attention of the defense. The offense really runs through guard Jared Jers. Jers, 11 games this season with 7-plus assists, really facilitating the offense. Does Coach Riegel attack the front of the offense, sort of what MSOE tried to do against Brandon Emmerich the other night, or does he focus more down low? The Falcons, multiple players, 3 of them, in fact, over 6'5" in this starting lineup. So it'll be interesting to see how does Coach Riegel attack defensively. The Regents can score with anyone offensively, but how can they shut down the Falcons defensively will be the big key for me here this afternoon.
Absolutely, and another key matchup for the NAC standings. Concordia, Wisconsin comes in with sole possession of 3rd place at 10-3. Rockford 2 spots behind. The Regents currently hold the 5 spot with a record of 7-6. So Rockford looking to cement their chances to make the NAC conference tournament. Still have their sights set on a potential home game as well. CUW certainly salivating at the chance to get a home game for themselves. However, Tyler, I'll tell you, Concordia, Wisconsin has arguably the toughest remaining schedule. 6 of their last 7 games are against those top 5 teams in conference. So certainly an important one for both teams. We'll take a quick timeout, let you enjoy the Star Spangled Banner here at the Sievers Center on Rockford University.
From Concordia University, Wisconsin, and your own Rockford University Regents. At this time, we ask that all fans please rise. Gentlemen, remove your hats. Everybody face the flag. Silence yourself, because it is time we honor America with the playing of the Star Spangled Banner. let's meet the starting lineups for this afternoon's game. First for the Concordia University, Wisconsin Falcons, at guard, a 6'2" sophomore from Sheboygan, Wisconsin, number 2, Jared Juris. Also in the guard spot.
Moments away from tip-off here at the Sievers Center on the campus of Rockford University.
Wisconsin,
Tyler, lots of
Zito.
great matchups around the NAC today. Again,
A
lot yet to be decided in terms of the NAC Conference Tournament. Its members, it's who's going to be hosting. The battle for the 3 and 4 seeds, always important. Top 2 seeds in the conference will get a bye in that first round, so very important for both Regents and Falcons with their eyes set on the 3 and 4 seeds, trying to host that first tournament game.
And you have Concordia, Wisconsin coming in, as you mentioned, getting ready to hit the hardest part of their conference schedule, making the most of their previous 8 games, coming in 6-2 over their last 8. A great January for the Falcons. Rockford, a little bit of an inconsistent month there in January, finishing the month 4 of 4, including 2-2 in their last 4, alternating wins and losses over those last 4 games. Definitely want to head into this final month of the regular season conference games with a great start here at home in the Sievers Center against a tournament hopeful-bound Falcons team.
Give you a quick rundown of the slate for the rest of NAC action today. Marion Sabres hosting Benedictine. Illinois Tech will play host to Edgewood. Lakeland playing host to Aurora in what may be the most important game in NAC play today, as Lakeland sitting in that 6th seed, Aurora just behind them. So Aurora a game out, a game back of the Muskies, I should say. So a very important one up in Sheboygan, Wisconsin today. The Dominican University Stars play host to the Wisconsin Lutheran Warriors. CUC hosting MSOE, and here in Rockford it's the Regents playing host to the Concordia University Wisconsin Falcons.
And you look at that matchup, Aurora and Lakeland, as you mentioned, super important for teams fighting for the 6th seed. Also very important for Rockford, because you know one team is winning that matchup between Lakeland and Aurora, so getting another victory in the win column here this afternoon. So super important for Rockford to make the most of this opportunity here. Great chance to pick up a big win against one of the top teams in the conference. See how they can fare here early on.
And Tyler, you could almost make the argument that Regents fans are also Spartan fans today, as a Lakeland victory would add another game cushion to Rockford's chances to make that conference tournament. The further they can distance themselves from that 7th seed, the better off they will be. But a slew of teams at 5 and 8 in the conference, just a game out of the tournament right now. Aurora, CUC, and Edgewood all at 5 and 8 coming into play today. Just about ready for tip-off here, as Brandon Keller and Jamar Rivera will stand toe-to-toe to start this one here on the campus of Rockford University.
Concordia coming out in the blue away uniforms with white trim. The Regents, their home gray with purple. Tip is controlled by the Falcons, but
not so fast.
We will tip again.
In the spirit of Super Bowl weekend, is that a false start?
I think that's a good way to appropriate. Did not see a yellow hanky on the floor.
No 5-yard penalty assessed. Falcons control the tip. Jared Juris brings it up into the front court. Lake George, top of the key. Falcons in motion. Post entry, 15 Keller. Shot up and in. Falcons take a 2-0 lead.
Brandon Keller leading the Falcons in field goal percentage this season. Minimum 5 attempts. Someone that can really get going, a season high of 27 points, and early 2 here to give the Falcons the 2-0 lead.
Emmerich skip pass over to Shaw. Shaw to Eugene. Far side corner. Gets it into Rivera in the paint. Little floaters up, no good. Rebound batted around and finally controlled by Joey Zietlow.
Falcons coming back the other way. You have Jared Juris, the facilitator on the offense, getting it down low to Keller once again. Goes up and under, and 4 early points for the Falcons, 4 early points for Keller. We set 4-0.
And you see PJ Gray kind of looking at the bench like, that's my bad, fellas. He gave up the baseline, and Falcons made him pay. Here's Vincent Eugene, near wing, top of the key, Cavante Shaw. Shaw squares up. Entry pass into Gray. Gray, Emmerich, open 3. In and out for Brandon Emmerich. Rebound pulled down once again by Joey Zietlow, as his pass into the front court is deflected by Emmerich. Brandon's able to save it to Cavante Shaw. Shaw, Rivera working. Cavante pulls it out to Vincent Eugene. Regents didn't quite have numbers.
And who else would it be on the defensive end with the steal? Brandon Emmerich, 9 games with at least 3 steals, but a turnover the other way. Shaw looking for Rivera. It'll be out of bounds back to the Falcons.
Emmerich far and away the leader in steals in the knack. As we've talked about it many times, Brandon just has a knack for deflections and getting steals on the defensive end. Jared Jurst brings it up. Zietlow on the drive, right hand, loses it, and a late whistle called. It's going to be an offensive foul, so Zietlow lost the ball a little out of control on the drive. He gets called for the offensive charge. First team foul against the Falcons.
Love the recognition defensively. You see someone driving to the basket a little bit out of control, get in position, avoid being in the circle, and a turnover against the Falcons.
Emmerich waiting as the Regents set up the offense. Shaw over to Addison Bodie. Bodie just checked in a minute ago for PJ Gray. Vincent Eugene on the drive, pulls up, short 2, in and out, no good. Rebound pulled down by Keller. Lake George brings it up for the Falcons. Couple good looks for the Regents here in the early going, just haven't got one to fall. Bodie comes up with the steal. Eugene able to stop the progress of the Falcons, and it's the Regents back the other way. Good ball movement here. Shaw to Eugene to Emmerich. Emmerich post feed to Rivera. Pump fake gets them up and off their feet as Jamar Rivera is able to lay it in, cutting the Falcons' lead to 2. Post entry to Keller, doubled by Bodie for a minute. Rivera guarding, blocks the shot, no call. Regents back the other way. Shaw up ahead to Emmerich, lays it up and in. We're tied at 4.
Defense leads to offense for the Regents. They're the 4th forced turnover here already, less than 3 minutes into this ball game. Coach Riegel has to love that. Missed a couple of great looks offensively, but defense more than making up for it here early on.
Pass into Johnson, he puts it up and in.
Point forward, Jordan Johnson.
Jordan Johnson averaging 17 points a game coming into play today. Cavante Shaw, Emmerich in the corner. Nice job by Jordan Johnson to recover there with the closeout. Cavante Shaw, top of the key. Emmerich in the corner again. They lost him. Open 3 for Brandon. It's good.
Give it to him. Nothing but nylon, and that is something the Regents need here this afternoon. Brandon Emmerich held to just 11 points on Wednesday night, but the early 3. And let's see if he can get going.
Emmerich with 5 points in the first 4 minutes here today. Falcons working on the offensive end. Pass over to Jurst. Jurst for 3, it's good.
He might be the facilitator offensively, setting up his teammates, but with a season high of 29 points against Coe College, he definitely can get going offensively as well.
And Jurst shoots at about 40% from 3 as the lefty hits on that one. 9-7 Falcons, 4 minutes into the first half.
And the Regents doing a great job. The Falcons coming out in what appears to be a matchup zone, finding the open spots, hitting some of those opportunities, and Brandon Emmerich with 5 of the early 7 points for Rockford.
Zietlow guards Cavante Shaw. As Rivera looking for the post entry, not there. Emmerich open 3, top of the key. Why not? You can't leave him open.
No doubt, Brandon Emmerich. And the Regents take their first lead of the game with a 10-9 score over the Falcons.
Back-to-back, Emmerich triples, has the Regents out in front. Here's Zietlow for 3, near wing, no good. Rebound pulled down by Cavante Shaw. Regents looking to push the action here. Vincent Eugene avoids the defender, corner to Bodie. Bodie, skip pass, stolen, tipped away rather, and Emmerich had a chance at it. A lot of loose ball action here. It ends up being Regents ball. Emmerich finds Rivera open for 2, and a sloppy sequence results in a Regents bucket. Jared Jurst brings it up now, gets the screen, tries to get Emmerich off of him, dumps it down low to Johnson. Johnson baseline, deflected by Eugene, out of bounds off the Regents.
And such active hands by the Regents here early on. 5-6 forced turnovers here already, averaging almost 1 forced turnover per minute in this ball game. And that'll keep you in a lot of games if you're able to have that type of defensive havoc.
Camden Flowers, 6'3", junior, checks in for the Falcons. Here's another loose ball recovered by the Regents. Vincent Eugene pushing it up ahead. Cavante Shaw, near wing, open 3, off the front of the iron, no good. Rebound pulled down by Jurst. Falcons back the other way. Pass up ahead. 24 Johnson. Here's the corner. Zietlow. Back to Johnson. Johnson to the left. Dribble handoff to Jurst. Jurst gets it stripped away by Vince Eugene. Vince all alone as Lake George thought about contesting that one. Decided against it as Eugene lays it up and in. 14-9 Regents, 14 and a half to play first half. Lake George, top of the key, guarded by Vince Eugene. As Brandon Emmerich again, number 2, always active for the Regents on the defensive end. And Tyler, he's gotten his hands on a lot of passes here already today.
And that's the Brandon Emmerich that everyone has come to expect. Active hands, deflections, steals, leading to fast breaks. This is a Rockford team that loves to get out and run, get out into the fast break, some early fast break points, playing a huge role for this early lead here over the Falcons.
Ashton Singleton, Nate Shedd, both checking in for the Regents. Nate Shedd coming off a terrific performance on Wednesday night. He dropped 24 in the Regents' loss to the MSOE Raiders. Post entry to George as Singleton guards. Singleton gets a hand on it, but he's going to get called for the foul. Looked like Ashton got at least some of the ball as George was going up, but he is called for the foul. First team foul against Rockford.
Yeah, Singleton slapped down instead of slapped up there. Refs 9 times out of 10 going to call that, even though looked like Singleton got mostly ball there.
George's first attempt is up and in.
George, just a 50.6% free throw shooter on the season, gets the first one, the friendly roll, to go down, cutting this Regent lead down to 14-10. Second one good as well.
George hits both. Regents up 3. Singleton over to Bodie in the backcourt. Nate Shedd near wing. Guarded by Johnson. Nate waits for the offense to get into motion. Here's Singleton. Over to Emmerich. Emmerich, top of the key to Shedd. Nate, left hand. Drive wasn't there, but the 3 is as Nate Shedd connects.
And the Regents have come out on fire, a 36% three-point shooting team on the season, but knocking down triple after triple as they build this 6-point lead.
Isaiah Tannett checks in for the Falcons. Here's Tannett in the corner. Alex Antoine in as well. Here's Emmerich with the steal as he takes it on the drive. Right hand pulls up, loses the handle on it, but that allows him to regain his dribble. Here's a cross-court pass to Singleton. Singleton baseline. Back out to Nate Shedd. Shedd, top of the key to Emmerich. Emmerich fakes the pass on the drive, tries to dish it down to Jamar Rivera, but it's going to be Tannett who comes up with the steal. Tannett on the drive now, left hand. Over into the corner to Johnson. Johnson, post entry. Here's Antoine. And a foul called on the Regents.
And the Regents doing a good job early on, preventing too many post touches down low, giving the big men too much time to hang out down in the post and get to work. As we talked about, the Falcons with the size advantage over the Regents, but the Regents forcing turnovers and forcing the Falcons to step out and hit the open shot. Just a 30% three-point shooting team on the season, so you know Coach Riegel will live with letting the Falcons try and take those outside triples.
And it'll be Alex Antoni. Correction on the pronunciation there. I apologize, Alex. And Tony's first shot's up and in.
Antoni, a 61% free throw shooter on the season. An area that the Falcons have struggled a little bit this year is at the free throw line, just a 65.6% free throw shooting team, but making the most of those opportunities early on.
Second attempt, no good. Rebound pulled down by Shedd. Regents look to push once again. Shedd, Singleton, Bodie, Randy Stajenga now in the ball game as well, along with Vince Eugene for Rockford. Stajenga, pass tipped away and stolen. Lake George on the breakaway. Stajenga thinks about contesting, decides not to. Falcons free throw, layup rather, is good, cutting that Regents lead to 3. Here's Ashton Singleton, jump stop in the lane, floater no good. Rebound pulled down by the Falcons. Here's CUW back the other way. Lake George looks to set up the offense. Gets it to Antoni, top of the key, over to Garrett Hoffman. Hoffman checked in for the Falcons as well. Dribble handoff, Camden Flowers, top of the key, 3, no good. Rebound to Vincent Eugene. Vince out in transition once again. Bounce pass to Singleton. Ashton couldn't handle it cleanly, and now they're going to say Singleton stepped on the baseline. So somewhat of an unforced turnover there as CUW will take back over.
And the Falcons really going to their bench early here tonight as Braden Persinger, yet another Falcon to enter the game. And that is the 11th player to see action for the Falcons here so far, less than 8 minutes into the game. So Coach Cassidy not afraid to really go deep into the bench and try and keep up with this Regent fast break.
Tannett to the corner 3 for Hoffman's no good. Vincent Eugene pulls down the rebound. Great job by Vince Eugene. Went up and got that one. Stajenga over to Eugene. Eugene, Cavante Shaw. Shot fake, dribble drive. Cavante picks it up. Nate Shedd, top of the key. Shedd, long 2, no good. Rebound pulled down by the Falcons. 17-14, Regents on top, 12 to play first half. Tenet waits for the offense to set up for the Falcons. Hoffman on the drive as Shed pokes it away. Back to Stinnett. 10 to shoot on the shot clock. Singleton guards. Top of the key to Hoffman. 5 to shoot. Hoffman to the left. Loses control, but a foul called on the Regents, so CUW bailed out on that possession as the shot clock will reset to 20.
And Shed picks up his second foul here early on.
Well, the shot clock needs to reset to 20. It hasn't yet. There it is.
And Shed with such a strong performance off the bench for the Regents on Wednesday night, 24 points, but he'll take a seat after picking up an early second foul as Brandon Emmerich re-enters the game.
Here's Stinnett in the corner. Gets the screen from the big man, Antoni. Antoni gets the post entry. Stadanga guarding. Shot up and in.
Tough shot there by the big man, Alex Antoni. Good defense there by Staganga.
Singleton up ahead to Eugene. Eugene to Staganga. He's able to save the pass after it hit off his hands initially as Staganga now drives, dunks it off to Vince Eugene. Eugene up and under, no good. CUW with the rebound. Good opportunity for the Regents. They're just unable to convert. Stinnett back the other way. Corner dump off. Here's 13 Persinger, and his shot is no good, but a foul called as CUW will go to the foul line once again.
And that will send Braden Persinger to the free throw line, 50% at the charity stripe on the season.
Joey Zietlow getting ready to check back in for CUW. 14 fouls for the Regents, just 1 for the Falcons. Not quite the disparity we saw on Wednesday night.
That would have been tough to match from that Wednesday night matchup against MSOE. But as Persinger knocks down the first free throw, we have a 17-17 ball game midway through the first half.
Regents had 27 free throws attempted against them in the first half on Wednesday night to their 5.
And when you look at a 7-point loss and you really start to evaluate being outscored by 21 points at the free throw line, easy to pinpoint that as one of the main reasons for the final outcome.
There's Eugene. Picks up his dribble, looks for a cutting Cavante Shaw. Pass is deflected, another Regents turnover. And, talking to Coach Regal after Wednesday night's affair, some frustration with some timely turnovers late in Wednesday night's game, and after a hot start for the Regents, a handful of turnovers here has started to turn the tide as Antoni's layup attempt is no good. Ashton Singleton the other way. He's got Emmerich in the corner, but he takes it himself. Tough layup, a lot of contact, no call, as Singleton unable to convert in transition. CUW back the other way. Here's Hoffman, picks up the dribble. Top of the key, Stinnett, open 3. He takes it. 3 is well off the mark as rebound down to Cavante Shaw. Shaw to Eugene, to Emmerich. Emmerich waited just a little too long to decide whether he was going to go up or pass that ball back, and it results in another Regents turnover. Here's an open look as Joey Zietlow is able to hit from 3, and that is going to cue a Regents timeout. Falcons now on top, 21-17.
And you saw early on a lot of havoc, a lot of turnovers forced by the Regents that led to easy points, but trying to force things just a little too much here offensively, both against this matchup zone of the Falcons. Forcing a lot of passes through the air, chest passes, not using the bounce on the floor to share with teammates, something that they have to do a better job of. And then on fast breaks, making too late of decisions. We saw Brandon Emmerich there. Is he going to go up with it? Will he pass it out? Need to be a little more decisive early on in the fast break, because those are easy opportunities that the Regents, I'm sure Coach Regal feels that they've left on the court here early on as they've turned this deficit to 4 points.
Regents have created 7 turnovers on the defensive end, but they've turned it over 5 times themselves on the offensive side. That three-pointer, just CUW's first of the contest. Rockford 3 for 5 from beyond the arc.
And Coach Regal has to be pleased with the defense of his basketball team here in the first half. You have a CUW team that averages just 14 turnovers on the season. We're a fourth of the way into this game, and the Regents have already forced 7. So you have to be pleased with the defensive effort here so far, just not converting enough of those turnovers to points, especially here over the last 4 or 5 minutes.
We're halfway through the first, 9:54 to play. Falcons on top, 21-17. Emmerich leading all scorers at the moment with 8. Brandon connecting on 2 3-pointers. As we come out of the first timeout of the ballgame. It'll be Eugene, Staganga, Shaw, Emmerich, and Singleton on the floor for Rockford. Jers, Zietlow, Johnson, Perzinger for the Falcons. Vincent Eugene as off the ball foul called. And that one's going to go on Jordan Johnson. Johnson picks up his first. Second team foul against Concordia, Wisconsin. Jamar Rivera getting ready to check back in for the Regents as Randy Stiganga will have a seat.
And we've seen plenty of under the basket, out of bounds set pieces from Coach Riegel that have led to easy twos. Let's see what he calls here to see if he can do just that once again.
Inbound deep to Vincent Eugene. Took the safety valve there as Eugene sets up the offense. Singleton coming around a screen, sets another one for Vince. Over to Emmerich, near wing. Entry bounce pass, Kavante Shaw. Shaw gets a little separation, shot fake.
Beautiful pump.
Free throw line coming as Shaw is able to draw the and one. Got the defender on his feet, went right around him, drew the contact, and won.
And that might be a matchup that Coach Riegel loves to exploit here moving forward. We can see Kavante Shaw drive it to the basket, use that advantage. We've also seen him hit that step back jumper, so some different opportunities for him in that one-on-one matchup.
Shaw to complete the three-point play. It's up and in as Keller was called for the foul. Brandon Keller picks up his first. Zietlow brings it up near side. Pass down to Johnson. Johnson back to Perzinger. Here's Keller, top of the key. Over to Johnson. 15 to shoot. CUW, a lot of ball movement. Finally, the entry pass. Shaw on the defense as shots up, no good. Rebound to Keller. As CUW will head to the free throw line once again.
Brandon Keller, 7 rebounds per game on the season, someone that the Regents have to find and block out each time there's a shot that goes up. Can't allow those second chance opportunities for the Falcons. And we're seeing a little bit more of the Regents starting to front down in the post. Allowed MSOE to catch it and play behind a little bit too much on Wednesday night. And now, after consulting, the foul will go against number 23, Jamar Rivera. Just his first foul of the evening.
Works in the Regents' favor. Is that, I believe, would that have been Kavante's second? Or do we have the board a little off at the moment? We'll get the foul situation straightened out for you. Keller's first one's up and in.
Keller, just a 43.9% free throw shooter on the year. Knocks down the first.
Would have been, as the second one's no good. Offensive rebound goes to the Falcons. Rivera went on the floor for it, unable to pull it out. Zietlow now on the drive, loses control, offensive foul. Second time we've seen that go against the Falcons as Zietlow loses the dribble and loses control of the body, ends up getting called for the offensive foul, his second.
And you just love a player like Vincent Eugene at just 6 foot, willing to do the dirty work. 11 games with at least 5 rebounds on the season, willing to get down there and scrap with the big men. And his position pays off as another turnover forced against the Falcons.
Entry pass to Rivera. Did his best wide receiver impression, went up to get it. Pass back out to Eugene. Over to Emmerich. Emmerich on the dribble, left hand, hands it off to Singleton. Stepped on the baseline. Another unforced turnover against the Regents as Falcons take over. But Tyler, you said it. I don't think anyone would tell you this Regents team is the most talented. They are certainly not the biggest, but they get it done consistently with energy on the defensive side, and I know Coach Riegel prides himself and his team on that style of play. His motto for this team has been toughness wins games, and they've won a lot of close ones in the closing minutes this season. Keller underneath, up and in. CUW up 24-20, 8:15 to play first half. Eugene on the dribble, looks for Kavante Shaw underneath. Kavante wide open, Jamar Rivera.
The no-look dime to Rivera, who was left all alone for the easy two. And Shaw able to facilitate and cut this Falcon lead to just 2. And a rebound by Shaw, and here come the Regents back the other way. Tries to get it up to Eugene. It's knocked away. Falcons force a turnover, and here they come back on their own little fast break. The alley-oop, no. Vincent Eugene, who else comes away with it? And he hits it to Rivera. Rivera up with the contact and count it. We are headed to the line for a 3-point play the old-fashioned way, and we have ourselves a tie ball game.
Interesting decision by Jurst trying to throw the oop to Keller on the defensive end. Some miscommunication, mistiming. Ends up turning into Regents possession the other way, and Rivera with the chance to complete the three-point play. Jamar's free throw attempt up and in. He's got 9 points now in the contest. Regents back on top by 1, 25-24, 7:40 to play. Keller sets the screen for Jers. Jers to Johnson. Johnson right hand as he's going to get called for an offensive foul. 3 offensive fouls against Concordia, Wisconsin, as Johnson wasn't happy about the call, but Tyler, I think that one's about as easy as it gets.
And that's just another example of the hustle plays that the Regents continue to make. You can't teach hustle. It's something you either have or you don't, and Coach Riegel has filled this roster with players that are willing to lay it all out on the line for this basketball team. Another forced turnover. Regents have the ball, looking to extend this 1-point lead.
Camden Flowers checks in for Johnson, so CUW with 16 fouls now. Cavante Shaw, 3, top of the key, no good. Keller pulls down another rebound. Jers brings it up, pass up ahead. Back to Jers. To Keller at the top. Keller looks to drive, spin move, right hand, and travel called as Concordia, Wisconsin's bench is not pleased at all with the series of calls here in the last minute or so. Regardless, it's the Regents ball back the other way. Nate Shedd working. Gets it out to Cavante Shaw. Emmerich sets the screen. Shaw opts not to use it. Pass out to Shedd. Regents have to be careful with those passes at the top. Shedd dumps it off to Rivera, and the post passes from the Regents today have been absolutely outstanding as they've been able to create and find the open man in the paint multiple times here early on.
The Regents continue to break down this Concordia, Wisconsin defense, and then when Helpside has to come over, the easy dish, the easy 2, it all starts with that penetration, something the Regents have done a great job of, no matter the defense that the Falcons have thrown at them.
Rockford with 5 assists on 8 made shots here in the first half. Cavante Shaw with 3 of the 5. And remember Wednesday night, Cavante with a double-double as he posted 10 points, 10 assists. And Tyler, he really could have had about 15 assists in that ball game as the Regents missed some open looks. There was a pass on the baseline that just wasn't quite handled by a teammate. Cavante Shaw continues.
And Shaw just so creative offensively. It's the no-look passes. It's the collapse and dish. It's the ability to drive to the basket and put defenses in bad situations, really helping to facilitate this offense, not just with his scoring, but with his passing as well.
George gets it into Keller. Keller in the paint, working on Gray. Layup's no good. Lake George with the offensive rebound as he puts it in.
And P.J. Gray with such a great job defensively against the post. Have to prevent those offensive rebounds, though, the easy second chance points.
Cavante pulls it out. Nate Shedd gets bumped, and he'll draw a foul rather, as both Shedd and Shaw hit the ground hard there. Certainly inadvertent on the part of the Falcons defender. Just an unfortunate way both men tumbled to the ground. But again, Concordia, Wisconsin head coach Sean Cassidy not thrilled with how some of these, I don't want to say ticky-tack, but maybe 50-50 calls have gone against him here.
And it's a situation the other night. We saw some 50-50 calls go against the Regents. It's all about how do you respond to that adversity. The Regents head to the free throw line. Both teams in the bonus the rest of the way through. See if the Regents can extend this lead.
Camden Flowers called for the foul. He'll pick up his first. Shedd at the line, front end of the 1-and-1's up and in.
And Shedd, an 83% free throw shooter on the season, someone Coach Riegel loves to see step up to the line for the free opportunities and a chance to push this Regent lead to 3 with 6:19 left in the first half.
Shedd hits both as the Regents extend the lead to 3, 29-26. Just over 6 minutes to play first half. It's been a quick first half here at the Seaver Center. Lake George has it, brings it to the top of the key, gets it out to Jers. Jers takes the deep 3. It was contested off the front of the rim. Rebound bounces around, finally controlled by Shaw. Vincent Eugene says, let's slow down and set something up. Cavante has P.J. Gray come up to the elbow. Brandon Emmerich running across. Eugene still with the ball. Now to Shaw. Shaw to Emmerich on the back cut. Emmerich spin move, but he traveled before he's able to get the shot off.
And you're starting to find some offensive pieces that are really working against this Falcon defense. The backdoor cuts, the penetration and dump off, some things that the Rockford Regents have gotten some easy baskets on. See if Coach Riegel continues to draw those up.
Cavante Shaw guarding Lake George. George, spin move. Vincent Eugene comes over, and Shaw comes up with the steal. Another turnover for the Regents. Nate Shedd in transition gets fouled on his way up.
And Cavante Shaw put that pass on a string, hitting the cutting Shedd. And another fast break, another opportunity to step to the line for two. And this Regent defense is just so chaotic. So many hands knocking away the basketball, forcing the turnovers, and Shedd back to the line.
Nate hits his third free throw in about 20 seconds. He'll get a chance for another one here. 30-26, Regents, 5:32 to play. Nate's second attempt, up and in.
Such a pretty shot, no doubt, when he steps to the free throw line. And it's been a game of runs here so far in this first half. The Regents pushed their lead to 31-26 with just over 5 to play.
Nice entry pass to Keller as he gets fouled on the way up. Jers playing the role of facilitator there. Nice job on the offensive end by the Falcons as Keller will go to the line again. Vince Eugene picks up his first.
And Eugene, such a selfless teammate there. You have Eugene and Shaw both there. Shaw with one foul already. As soon as the whistle blew, Eugene's hand shot up into the air to take credit for the foul.
Keller leading the Falcons in scoring here early as he misses the front end. Keller with 7 points in this one.
Substitution number 24, Anderson Bodie.
Difference in this one, Tyler, Regents 6 for 6 from the stripe as Keller's able to get the second one to go.
And we talked about it. The Falcons not necessarily known as a great free throw shooting team, so as this game continues to get tight, especially as we get into the second half, might play a big role in the final score.
Nate Shedd was looking for Vincent Eugene. Miscommunication there. Eugene cut to the hoop. Shedd thought he was still in the corner as that pass goes out of bounds. Concordia ball. Jers brings it up. Over to George at the top. Keller setting the screen in the post. Now looks for the post feed, but it's going to be George who takes it himself. Spin move, layup with the right hand, no good. And jump ball called. Tyler, I'm going to agree. I think that was probably the right call as Cavante Shaw was able to tie up George on the rebound. Jump ball called. Regents possession on the arrow. Eugene brings it up. Vince Eugene, Brendan Emmerich, Cavante Shaw, Addison Bodie, Nate Shedd in for Rockford. Motion offense here as Emmerich takes a three on the near wing, and that's well off the mark. A rare, I'll call it a bad shot attempt for Brandon Emmerich. He forced that one to be sure and off balance, but active on the defensive end as he swats that one away.
And offensively, it had been a while since Brandon Emmerich was able to get a shot off, so you know the Regents making it a priority to find opportunities for him. Maybe not quite the shot that Coach Riegel was looking for, but in typical Brandon Emmerich fashion, makes up for it on the defensive end, getting his hands on the ball and knocking it out of bounds.
Here's Jers inbounds, gets the bounce pass to Keller. Keller out. Here's a three, top of the key, no good. Emmerich pulls down the rebound. Garrett Hoffman with the missed attempt. Emmerich coming back the other way for Rockford. Over to Shedd on the wing. Shedd's pass to Bodie is stolen. Lake George all by himself as he throws it down. Lake George hammers that one as, you know, Tyler mentioned it a few minutes ago. Regents have had some lazy passes at the top of the key extended, and that one tipped away by the Falcons. Is now the CUW bench and traveling fans getting into this one as the Regents bench and Regents fans respond. It's getting loud in the Seaver Center.
And both teams know what's on the line here. This is NAC action at its finest. So much on the line as
Cavante Shaw short two, off the rim, up and over the backboard as this one goes back to the Falcons.
And really important here for the Regents to stay calm. Falcons on a little bit of a run here, have a little bit of the momentum after the George hammer. So super important that they buckle down, continue to play tight defense, and not let the Falcons go on a little bit of a run here.
Keller working on Bodie. Keller goes up, off the glass, and good. Tied at 31, 3.5 to play first half. Emmerich brings it up. Top of the key, Keller guards. Vince Eugene, far side wing, back up top to Emmerich. I think George Hammer might be my rap name in the future, by the way, Tyler.
It just felt so natural when I said it. It's a perfect fit.
George Hammer, I like it. Here's Nate Shedd, contested three, off the rim, no good. Rebound to the Falcons. Here's Jers. They have numbers. Jers to George. George lays it up and in. 33-31 CUW. Regents need to break the momentum here. Brandon Emmerich to Nate Shed. Bodie sets the screen for Shed. Shed to Shaw. Cavante underneath. Vincent Eugene wide open. Rockford just like that ties it back to, let's slow down. Ties it back up at 33 all. Brandon Emmerich doing his best to create another turnover for the Regents. Here's Hoffman, top of the key, tries to take Emmerich on the drive, loses the handle on it. Nate Shed comes up with the loose ball. Now the Regents have numbers back the other way. Shed loses it. Emmerich will retain possession for Rockford. They'll slow it down now in the front court. Cavante Shaw on the dribble. He's got room. Up off the glass, no good. George had the rebound, but Vincent Eugene stripped it away. Vince out to Emmerich. Emmerich open three-point after the shot fake, no good. Rebound to the Falcons and a foul called against the Regents, as this one's going to go against 13, Nate Shed.
And a beautiful drive there by Cavante Shaw. That is something the Regents are continuing to look for. Shaw getting to the hoop, facilitating the open man. But we see Rockford a little bit offensively, settling for the three-point shot, trying to stop this Falcon run. And very important that as they continue to move forward, run the offense, they're finding the open man. And that's how the Regents can attack this Falcon defense, because the Falcons are jumping a lot of passes. They're playing a lot of intense defense, pushing it out a little bit.
Here's Karsten at the line for the Falcons. He hits the first, 34-33. CUW leads Rockford, 2:04 to play. 18 fouls apiece. Karsten's second attempt. Little hard off the back of the rim, no good. Falcons continuing to lead points at the free throw line. Emmerich brings it up, front court, guarded by Tanet. Over to Stiganga. Stiganga check back in for the Regents. Ashton Singleton takes the handoff. Ashton, right hand drive, kicks it out to Eugene. Eugene to Emmerich, passes up the open look, takes it on the drive. Singleton open in the corner. Ashton hits the open three. The freshman Florida native getting on the scoreboard. As Ashton Singleton knocks down the triple, Regents back on top by 2. Falcons faithful has quieted down considerably. Eugene guards to net. Over to the big man, Antoni. Jers at the top. Gets the screen from George. Jers into the paint. Dribble handoff. Offensive foul called. The fourth offensive foul called against the Falcons here in the first half as Jared Jers picks up his first. You know, Tyler, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention Nate Shed, I believe, just picked up his third foul for the Regents, so that'll be something to watch as the game goes on with Nate in foul trouble here early. Here's Emmerich, Singleton, short corner, 2. Rattles around and in as Ashton Singleton scoring in 2 consecutive trips for the Regents.
When you swish one like he did on the last possession from 3, you're going to get the shooter's roll the next time down the court. Singleton knocks down the short-range jumper, and the lead is now back to 4 for the Regents with just 45 seconds, a critical final 45 seconds here in the first half.
Jers with the handoff to George. George guarded by Stiganga. Handoff to Jers. Emmerich picks him up. Emmerich with the steal. Brandon Emmerich in transition, dumps it to Vince Eugene off the glass and in.
Brandon Emmerich doing what Brandon Emmerich does best, forces the turnover, leads the fast break, and Eugene there for the easy kiss off the glass.
Fantastic job by Emmerich not to force that one all by himself. He did have a defender in his way, able to dump it off to Vince Eugene, and Vince says, I'll finish it for you, buddy. Regents on top by 6. 10 seconds to play first half. CUW holding for last shot. Lake George on the drive. Baseline off the glass. No good. Rattled around. Rebound to Antoni as he puts it in for the Falcons basket. And that will do it. A fast-paced first half here at the Seaver Center. And now we have an official down on the floor. Looks to be okay, but a little bit of a scary moment there as one of our NAC officials on the hardwood as the buzzer went off.
In the first half, going about how you expect the first half to go, you have 2 teams coming in averaging over 80 points per game in NAC play. And like we said early on, this is a game of runs. It's which team can withstand a run by the opponent. And both teams able to do so far here early on. We saw the Regents jump out to a lead. We saw the Falcons come back and regain control. And now as we head into halftime, you have the Regents 40, the Falcons 36. And this is some intense, high-quality conference basketball. You saw both sides, both benches really get active there as their teams were going on their runs of their own. And it'll be interesting to see which team can maintain that momentum into the second half. There's a lot on the line here inside the Seaver Center, trying to figure out which team will come one game closer to clinching a conference tournament berth.
Tyler, I think we need to take a timeout and catch our breaths.
I'm exhausted, so I know if we're exhausted, I can't imagine how both sides are feeling right now. High-quality basketball, expect a high-quality finish, and we'll be back to talk about some stats here in just a few minutes. We appreciate you tuning in for the first half. Come back soon for the second half of this intense NAC matchup.
Welcome back into the Seaver Center on the campus of beautiful Rockford University. 40-36 Regents over the Falcons at half. Tyler, what'd you see in the first half?
Well, you know, a lot to be excited about if you're Coach Riegel. First, on the defensive end, anytime you can force 16 turnovers in a half, you will be in a lot of good positions, especially this CUW team coming in, only averaging 14 turnovers per game. Regents forced 16 there in the first half, which led to 17 points off of those turnovers. And forcing the Falcons to step out and knock down the three-point shot is obviously a priority as well. The Falcons shooting just 22% here tonight, typically just a 30% three-point shooting team. So the Regents doing a good job of forcing the Falcons to try and step out and hit an open shot and not quite doing so. It's been the defense. You want to sum up the first half, it was the defensive advantage for the Regents, something they certainly will look to continue here into the second half.
And might sound like a broken record at a point, but this Regents offense is consistently so unselfish. They share the basketball, they move without the ball, and very much reflected here. 12 assists on 15 made shots.
And when you think about it, Coach Riegel, certainly some unforced turnovers by his Rockford offense, something that they'll look to clean up a little bit here in the second half. But their ability to penetrate this defense and dump it off to teammates for easy baskets was a thing of beauty in this first half. Nobody loved the wide open layup any bit more than any other shot. So getting those open opportunities, getting those easy layups, they're just so selfless. And if they can clean up those unforced turnovers, those easy baskets will continue to be there.
You mentioned the Regents defense. Concordia, Wisconsin's leading scorer, Jordan Johnson, comes in averaging 17.2 points per game. Just 2 points for Johnson in the first half, a plus-minus of -11 for the Falcons' leading scorer, Jordan Johnson. I know it was a big part of the game plan for Coach Riegel coming in. They executed that in the first half.
And I was curious early on, would the Regents try and cut the head off of the offense and attack Jared Jurst? Would they try and focus their attention on Jordan Johnson down low? And they've done both, which is a great defensive plan if you can do both. Jurst just 3 assists versus 4 turnovers in that first half, someone that typically runs the offense. And then you mentioned Jordan Johnson with just those 2 points. It's been Lake George and Brandon Keller doing the majority of the scoring, 20 of the 36 points in that first half between the two. So you have to sort of pick and choose who you're going to let take the shots, and the Regents have done a great job of eliminating the 2 most important offensive pieces in that first half.
Jabbar Rivera leading all Regents in scoring with 11, Brandon Emmerich with 8, Nate Shed's added 7, something to keep in mind. Nate Shed picked up his 3rd foul fairly late in that first half. Shed the only player with 3 fouls for either team. Something to keep an eye on here as we move along the second half. Starting lineup for the Regents to start this second half: Cavante Shaw, Jamar Rivera, Brandon Emmerich, Addison Bodie, and Vincent Eugene.
Coach Riegel didn't even wait until the next game to mix up the starting lineup this time. Coming out in the second half with a little bit of a different look, you have Addison Bodie in there for the Regents. See what he's able to do.
So it's the starting 5 minus PJ Gray with Addison Bodie in his stead. All right. Second half underway, Regents lead by 4. Here's Jurst, top of the key. Bounce pass down low to Zietlow. He couldn't handle it at first, but he's able to retain possession and put it up and in. As the Falcons strike first here in the second half, Regents lead by 2. Vince Eugene to his right. Now handoff to Brandon Emmerich. Emmerich to his left, over to Eugene. Eugene looks to take Jers on the drive, kicks it out. Cavante Shaw gets Zietlow in the air. Now the entry pass to Eugene, top of the key. Addison Bodie, open three, no good. Offensive rebound, tipped away as the Falcons end up coming up with it. Zietlow tries the behind-the-back pass. It's no good. Vincent Eugene now back the other way for the Regents. More fast-paced action here from Rockford. Shaw saves the pass from going out of bounds, gets it to Jamar Rivera, and another Shaw assist, another Rivera basket.
Shaw, an incredible ability to not just catch the pass going out of bounds, but also see who he's going to hit. Jers with a three of his own, no good. Rebound Rivera, and here come the Regents back the other way. Emmerich to Shaw. Shaw gets it to Bodie, but it's knocked away by Johnson, and here come the Falcons back on their own fast break.
Emmerich looks for the swipe, doesn't come up with it, as Jordan Johnson's going to be called for an offensive foul.
And I don't know how we didn't mention it at halftime, but the Regents' ability to force offensive fouls count as turnovers. That is the 5th of the game that they have forced. So when 5 of the 17 forced turnovers have been offensive fouls, that is sacrificing your body for the team, because you know getting ran over, it's not something you willingly do if it's not for your team.
Bigger picture, Jordan Johnson, 3 personal fouls now. Be interesting to see how Coach Cassidy utilizes him as we get down the stretch. Here's Emmerich, refuses the screen from Rivera. Brandon tries to force a pass to Eugene. Poor decision by Brandon. Regents back on defense the other way. Zietlow tries to pull it out, and man, Tyler, that one almost could have gone the offensive way.
Yeah, you certainly saw Zietlow initiate and look for that contact with Emmerich. Emmerich going for one of his patented knock from behind to go back the other way. Foul called against Emmerich, just his first of the afternoon. Regents lead 42-38, 18:32 to go.
One team foul apiece now. Minute and a half into the second half. Keller with the ball far wing as he takes Rivera on the drive. Right hand up, no good. Rivera with the rebound. Vince Eugene looks to run. Pushes it up ahead to Bodie. Bodie, baseline, back out to Eugene. Rivera top of the key, over to Emmerich. Emmerich waits for the screen from Rivera. Rivera slips it. Emmerich doesn't get it to him. Out to Eugene. Eugene's pass to Bodie is stolen. Another Regents turnover on a pass at the top of the key. Zietlow, nice finish as his layup attempt was contested, but he's able to convert. 42-40 Regents. Emmerich back the other way for Rockford. Over to Cavante Shaw, near side corner. Guarded by Keller. Shaw, entry pass to Rivera. Jamar, turnaround jumper is up and in. Jamar Rivera continues to set the tone on the offensive side. 15 points for the Regents in this one. Lake George to Keller. Keller top of the key, guarded by Rivera. Over to Zietlow, near wing. To Perzinger, over to Jers. Jers back to Keller. Over to Lake George, 5 to shoot. George forces the 3, off the rim, no good. Another rebound for Rivera. Jamar's had a nice ball game this afternoon. Cavante Shaw brings it up now, right hand. Pulls it up, over to Eugene, and the second time we've seen that from the Regents on the offensive end, where the first time it was Nate Shedd looking for Vince in the corner. Vince cuts to the hoop, pass ends up sailing out of bounds, and almost a mirror image of that play there.
And just some miscommunication there from the Regents offensively, and you really start to look into this is a game where each possession is really going to matter. The Regents with the 4-point lead over the Falcons. You look at that first half, Rockford did not have a single offensive rebound. This is a team that typically averages about 11.5 per game. So when you're not getting those extra opportunities on the offensive glass for second chance points, makes it even more important to not have those unforced turnovers. And that's really how I would describe a lot of these turnovers here for the Regents in this game. Not really the result of the Falcons, really just poor communication, trying to force some things that really aren't there. And you know that's something that Coach Riegel has to find a way to clean up for this offense for them to continue this lead.
44-40 Rockford, 17:09 to play. Falcons show 6 timeouts remaining on the board, 4 for Rockford. Jers brings it up. He'll be picked up by Emmerich. Hand off to Zietlow, guarded by Bodie. Over to Perzinger. And off the ball foul is going to be called on, I believe, Addison Bodie. Addison Bodie indeed picks up his first personal. CUW to inbound. To Keller. Keller back to Jers. Jers, entry pass to Keller, working on Rivera. Now back to Jers. He was looking to cut. Emmerich cut him off. Jers pulls it out, top of the key now, over to Zietlow, guarded by Bodie. Zietlow puts up the 3 from the wing, it's good. Vince Eugene back the other way for Rockford. Regents lead down to 1. Emmerich on the far side. It's to Eugene. Eugene swings it to Bodie. Bodie looking for something. Here's Shaw in the corner. Shaw skip pass. Emmerich corner three's up and in. Brandon Emmerich wide open from three in the corner.
Splish, splash, nothing but net for Brandon Emmerich, and the Regents answer the three from Zietlow and push the lead back to 4.
Third triple for Brandon. Here's Berzinger. Keller sets the screen for him. Hand off to Jers. Jers on the drive, guarded by Emmerich. Corner three, Berzinger. Shots up and good. Falcons with the answer. Lead back to 1. Vince Eugene brings it up. Cavante Shaw on the fly wanted the deep pass, but Vince saying, no, let's slow it down and get a good one. Here's Brandon on the drive and gets poked in the... I hope he didn't get poked in the eye, but judging by his reaction, it certainly looked like he took a blow to the head of some kind. No call on it, at least not yet. The officials are getting together, so if indeed they go with a no call here, it will be CUW's ball and another Rockford turnover.
And it really goes back to the conversation we had on Wednesday night where there was when Brandon Emmerich got thrown to the floor and there was a no call. Either the officials are essentially saying Emmerich didn't get touched and just dropped to the floor, which with the new flop rule, interesting to see how that no call goes about, but hard to imagine Emmerich drops to the floor like that if there wasn't some level of contact. And Emmerich, another steal, but steps out of bounds. One he really wanted there. And Brandon Emmerich is fired up here as the Regents going into a little bit of full court pressure, trying to force the issue with this 1-point lead.
Here's Zietlow bringing it up. Man, Brandon almost had the inbounds pass stolen yet again. Here's Jers guarded by Emmerich. And Brandon looks at, what's the word? Determined, I think, here in the second half. Be interesting to see how Brandon bottles up that energy. Here's Jers guarded by Emmerich. Entry pass to Keller and a foul committed. I think this one's going to go against Jamar Rivera. No, they're going to call it on Vince Eugene.
And once again, a little bit official for the Regents. That would have been 3 on Jamar Rivera. Rivera with 15 points to pace the Regents here this afternoon. So don't want to see another foul called against the Regents, but perhaps it going against Eugene was a little bit official there.
Keller's first attempt is up and in.
And Brandon Keller continues to pace the Falcons here. A 43.9% free throw shooter on the year, but goes 2 for 2. 12 points on the evening for Keller. We've talked about the lack of scoring from Johnson, but Keller has stepped into that role. 12 points here in the afternoon.
Eugene on the drive. Kicks it out. Nate Shed now on the drive. Nate loses it on the way up. Lake George comes down with it. Pass up ahead to Keller. Stolen by Emmerich. Great job by Brandon playing defensive back. Tipped it to Vince Eugene. Eugene now back the other way. Left hand no good. Offensive rebound, Jamar Rivera, and 1.
And not a bad first offensive rebound on the afternoon for the Regents. Rivera going up strong for his 17th point. Once again going to the line for that old-fashioned three-point play. And is there a single speck on this court that Brandon Emmerich can't get to? I mean, his defensive ability is incredible as yet another deflection leading to the Regent fast break.
Rivera to complete the three-point play. Free throw attempt off the front of the rim and in. 50-48 Regents. And you know, Tyler, we still have 7 conference games left to play, 6 after today. I don't know how the NAC Player of the Year conversation is going to turn out, but if you don't consider Brandon Emmerich one of the best players in this conference, and I think what he means to this Regents team, you start breaking down that old, well, what does MVP mean, right? What does most valuable player mean? Brandon Emmerich's the heart and soul of this Regents squad. He does it on both sides of the floor. The point totals might not be up there with the leading scorers in the NAC, but man, the energy and passion he brings every day to this team is something to be appreciated and marveled at. Vince Eugene now on the defensive end. Entry pass, Zietlow. Shed does a nice job to body him. And Keller gets away with a push off of Rivera as this ball swung around. Open three, and CUW hits. 51-50 Falcons.
And what a swing there. Could have called the offensive foul against Keller going the other way. Turns into a Johnson three-pointer. Falcons retaking that lead 51-50. Once again, Regents having to find a way to fight back on that no call. Eugene tries to go up and under, no good. And Jers leading the fast break. But Brandon Emmerich, who else gets his hand on it? Shed to Eugene. Eugene through the contact. It's good.
Great finish.
Fighting through that contact, lays it in for 2, and the Regents back on top 52-51.
Regents extremely active here in the second half. again, interesting no call with Jamar Rivera hitting the deck hard after the contact. No flop call, no charge call. Interesting. Corner 3, Zietlow. Off the rim, no good. As Rivera's going to pick up, draw the foul rather, on Keller. Rivera went up for it. Keller certainly with contact as he picks up his second. And Antoni's going to check in for Keller as Ashton Singleton checks in for the Regents. Vince Eugene get a chance to catch his breath. 52-51 Rockford, 13:48 to play. Emmerich brings it up for the Regents. 4 team fouls for Rockford, 3 against the Falcons. Persinger guarding Emmerich. Top of the key to Shed. Shed takes the screen from Rivera, deep 2. Nate Shed off the rim, no good. Rebound pulled down by Zietlow. Zietlow's had a nice game for the Falcons here. Zietlow open 3. Regents didn't get there in time. No, it's a deep 2. Deep 2. So a made shot by Zietlow. Official rules, he was on the line. So 2-pointer is good. Emmerich open corner 3. Yes.
No doubt about the 3-pointer on that one. No foot on that line. Emmerich answers the 2 with a 3 of his own and pushes the Regent lead back to 2. Can't leave that man open. He was alone in the corner and knocked down the 3.
Had his eyes on another steal there. Antoni, top of the key. 3 is good. And just like that, the Falcons answer. We've seen that many times this afternoon with big made shots on one end and an answer on the other end. Both teams. 1-point ball game. Falcons on top now by 1. Emmerich from the wing, top of the key to Shaw. Shaw to Singleton. Ashton from the corner, no good. Rebound to Berzinger. Outlet pass to Jers. Jers brings it up. Looks for Johnson. Johnson on the drive, pulls up, deep 2. Off the rim, no good. Rebound by Emmerich. Emmerich thought about getting it up ahead to Shed, decides against it. Cavante Shaw calling for it. Shaw takes Antoni on the dribble, dump off to Rivera. Shots contested and gets the roll. Shaw to Rivera. How many times have we said that today?
Shaw so smooth getting to the basket. You almost anticipated that dump off was coming. Rivera fights through a little bit of contact and lays it in. And back the other way, Jers takes it to the basket, but a foul will be called on the floor.
Cavante Shaw looking for double-digit assist numbers in consecutive games. Cavante with 10 on Wednesday. He's got 8 in this one with 12 minutes to play.
Substitution for Concordia University.
Emmerich will head to the bench as Vince Eugene checks back in. It'll be Ashton Singleton, Cavante Shaw, Jamar Rivera, Nate Shed, and Vince Eugene for the Regents. Here's Jurst inbounds. Off the ball foul is going to be called. I believe this is going to go against Vince Eugene.
Rockford University foul number 21, Vince Eugene. That's his third personal foul.
Vince picks up his third. So Regents guards in foul trouble now. Nate Shed and Vince Eugene both with 3. And Jamar Rivera is going to pick up his third.
And you're starting to see the Falcons making it a point to try and push that issue. The Regents starting to get into that foul trouble. 3 on Rivera, 3 on Eugene, 3 on Shed. And now in the bonus with still just under 12 minutes to play.
We're going to see PJ Gray check back in for Rivera. Haven't seen PJ since the early stages of this one. Antoni at the line. Rattles around, no good. Here's Nate Shed back the other way, looking to force the issue. Nate, right hand, coast to coast, no good, but draws the foul.
And you're starting to see the fouls being called a little bit tighter here. Great job by Shed there. Push the issue, take it to the basket, had a matchup he liked, and either get the easy 2 or head to the free throw line. That's exactly what happened. And Shed, certainly someone that the Rockford offense trying to get going a little bit. 24 the other night, just 7 here so far. Someone that typically averages 15.6 points per game. And he'll step to the line for 2.
Shed's first attempt up and in. They spend money from the free throw line in this one. (58-56) Regents. Nate Shed trying to make that 59. Free throws up and in. Regents lead by 3, 11:52 to play. Jers brings it up for CUW. Nate Shed 6 for 6 from the line. Here's Jers on the drive, spin move, kicks it out, corner, Persinger on the drive, jump stop, dishes down low to Antoni, layups up and in. 59-58 Rockford. Vince Eugene for Rockford now. Over to Cavante Shaw. Shaw back to Shed. Shed gets the screen from Cavante. Nate Shed on the drive, kicks it out. Cavante Shaw now into the lane. Runners up, no good. Rebound pulled down by Antoni. Jers near side brings it up for the Falcons. Over to Perzinger, back to Jordan Johnson. Johnson to Jers. Antoni posting up on PJ Gray. Entry pass gets away. Falcons turnover. That'll lead to a Regents possession.
And a little bit official there for the Regents. The errant pass, you could start to feel the Falcons are starting to get going offensively, starting to find some matchups that they liked. Regents chance here to regroup as Vince Eugene walks the ball up the court and get into an offensive set that Coach Riegel likes, with them protecting just that 1-point lead.
Shed over to Singleton. Cavante Shaw in the paint. Out to Nate Shed. Nate Shed for three. Air balls and no good. Jordan Johnson fast break. Pulls up for three. It's good. Johnson hits. Falcons up two. Jordan Johnson now with 8 points in the ball game, and that's a man that Coach Riegel and the Regents don't want to get hot. Jordan Johnson, Falcons leading scorer. They held him in check in the first half.
And that's Johnson's second three of the second half, showing he can step out and hit the open shot. Definitely a priority here for the Regents defensively. Eugene has it, wanted to get Gray. Gray wasn't ready for it, but Singleton steals it away, gets it to Shaw. Shaw gets it to PJ Gray, back to Shaw. Shaw, Shed, three, corner, no good. Rebound Johnson, and here come the Falcons back the other way.
Jordan Johnson brings it into the front court. Gets it to Antoni, top of the key. Hand off to Perzinger. Johnson, back to Jers. Jers over to Karsten. Karsten gets the screen from Antoni. Back to Johnson, to Jers, 7 to shoot. Jers on the drive, offensive charge. Regents have gotten their share tonight.
And this is intentional at this point. This is something you start to see. The Falcons continue to be out of control, driving to the basket, trying to kick it out for the open three. So you know that's something that this defense is aware of. You get into a position, they're going to commit the offensive foul. What is that, 6 tonight here?
I believe that's the 6th offensive foul that the Regents have drawn on the defensive side. Hugely important in this game.
And
Coach Riegel's going to take a timeout.
Playing along with that, Jared Jers picks up his 3rd foul of the evening. We've talked about it. That's Johnson with 3. That's Jers with 3. So Regents might be in a little bit of foul trouble, but Falcons certainly dealing with a little bit of that on their own as the timeout is called. With 9:45 to play, it is Falcons 61, Regents 59, and we have been dealt a treat this afternoon. Back and forth affair. Regents up 4, Falcons up 2. Regents retake the lead back and forth, and a little bit of NAC action across the conference here this afternoon.
Couple tight ball games across the NAC so far. 12 minutes to play at IIT as Illinois Tech leads Edgewood 46-38. Up in Wisconsin, Sheboygan to be exact. Aurora Spartans leading Lakeland Muskies 60-55, 13 minutes to play there. Dominican Stars looking for the upset. They lead Wisconsin Lutheran 62-55, 11:22 to play from River Forest. Concordia Chicago 47, MSOE 41. CUC leading the Raiders, another upset in the NAC Bruin, 14 minutes to play. So, a lot yet to be decided, but a huge day of NAC action. And here in Rockford, Concordia Wisconsin Falcons on top 61-59. 9:45 to play. Regents have already racked up 17 fouls, so the Falcons are going to be shooting for the rest of the ball game. CUW has 5 team fouls, so the Regents one away from hopping into the bonus themselves. All right, out of the timeout, Addison Bodie, PJ Gray, Vincent Eugene, Nate Shed, Ashton Singleton for Rockford. Singleton to Shed. PJ Gray sets the screen for Shed as Nate's going to be called for traveling. Turnover results in a Falcons possession. So CUW now back the other way. Perzinger inbounds to Jers. Perzinger, Jers, Karsten, Antoni, and Johnson on the floor for the Falcons. Johnson working on Vince Eugene, trying to get open. Called for the ball a few times on this possession, hasn't got it yet. Here he is. Right hand, shut down by Vince Eugene, brings it back out. Johnson trying to take Eugene on the drive, kicks it out. Over to Karsten. Karsten into the paint, handoff. Johnson on the cut, lays it up and in. Falcons up 4.
And Eugene had done such a beautiful job on Johnson that whole possession, but just let him sneak behind him as the shot clock wound down in the easy 2, and the Falcon lead pushed to 4.
Gray sets the screen for Shed. This is the look they were trying for on the last possession. Eugene, handoff to Singleton. Ashton on the drive, pulls up from the elbow, no good. Johnson back the other way for CUW. Slows it down, so the Falcons will get into an offensive set. High screen coming from Antoni. Sets another one for Jers. Jers open 3 from the wing, no good. Rebound tipped out of bounds off Singleton, and that'll stay Falcons ball. Zietlo's going to check in for Karsten as Brandon Emmerich and Cavante Shaw check back in for the Regents.
And it was interesting to see how long Coach Riegel would let that lineup last. Great defensive lineup, but needing some offensive spark here, getting Emmerich and getting Rivera back into the game.
Inbound pass to Antoni. Cross-court pass to Johnson. Johnson far wing, top of the key to Zietlo, guarded by Cavante Shaw. Zietlo to Johnson. Vincent Eugene very active on Johnson. Post entry. Antoni shot no good. Cavante Shaw can't handle the rebound as CUW will retain possession once again.
Something that Rockford really has to prevent from happening down the stretch. Those offensive rebounds, that inability to come down with the defensive rebound, those extra opportunities as Zietlo lays it in for 2, and that's what can't happen.
Vince Eugene brings it up. Regents now trail by 6. Rockford needs a spark here. Emmerich on the drive. Free throw attempt is blocked, no good, but Shaw comes up with it. Wide open, Jamar Rivera lays it in. And once again, Tyler, Cavante Shaw to Jamar Rivera. It's been the bread and butter for the Regents offense today. Cavante Shaw, 9 assists in the ball game. Jamar Rivera now with 22 points for Rockford. Rivera leads all scorers. Here's Jers to Antoni. Antoni, pass, knocked away. Vince Eugene can't handle it as Vince kicks it out of bounds, so CUW will come up, will kind of dodge the bullet there as it certainly looked like Vince had a chance for another fast break layup.
And not just that, you had Jordan Johnson chasing him down. Johnson with the 3 fouls, potentially picking up that 4th foul, trying to contest Eugene. So just so many ways that could have gone well for the Regents. And the one way it could have gone poorly, it just happened to do.
Jers brings it up. Emmerich will pick him up. Johnson cutting through, wide open. You saw it coming. Jordan Johnson just able to run the little circle play. Open look down low, draws the foul. But Johnson will have a chance at the 3-point play as Vince Eugene picks up his 4th personal. Oh, check that. Uncheck that. PA announcer Bill Chaya throwing a curveball at me up here. So Vince now with 4 personals. Ashton Singleton's going to check back in for him. Johnson completes the 3-point play.
And that's 13 for Johnson here, 11 in the second half. You knew it was going to happen. He was going to get going. Johnson, 17 games with at least 10-plus points, and now 18 games with at least 10-plus points. It's been a run for CUW. How do the Regents answer here? Down 7 with about 7 to go, and Shed, the shot just inside the 3-point line, no good, and Johnson comes away with a rebound, and he'll look to push the other way, gets it to Zietlo.
I believe it's the largest lead of the day for the Falcons as they're up 7 with 7 to play. Now looking to run some clock. Jordan Johnson, top of the key, guarded by Shed. Hand off to Jers. Entry pass to Keller. Keller guarded by Rivera. Keller kicks it out to Johnson, guarded by Emmerich. Johnson's 3, it's up, it's off the rim, no good. Rivera pulls it down as Rivera's outlet pass to Shaw almost stolen by Jers, but now it's on to Rivera once again.
There is nothing prettier than a Shaw to Rivera connection.
10 assists for Cavante Shaw. 24 points for Jamar Rivera. Regents down 5. See if they can get another stop. Johnson thinks about the 3, puts it on the floor as Nate Shed is going to pick up his 4th personal.
And that's a tough one to make, number 4. Just the hand on the body. That's 4 for Shed. And as the Falcons continue to be in the bonus, looks like Bodie will check back in for the Regents as well as Lake George. And Johnson steps to the line, an 83.1% free throw shooter on the season. So a lot of people that struggle at the line for the Falcons, Johnson is not one of them.
68-63 Falcons. Johnson at the line, 6:18 to play, second half. First one's up and in.
And we talked about it in the first half. It was a game of runs, and each team able to answer the other's run. See if the Regents can do that here with 6 minutes to play.
Johnson's second attempt. Right through the hoop. 71-63, Falcons on top. Emmerich brings it up for Rockford, guarded by Lake George. Brandon pulls it out. Regents run their offensive set. Cavante Shaw at the elbow. Jamar Rivera fakes the screen, slips it. Shaw to Rivera once again. 70-65.
And Shaw well into double digits assists. Rivera leading all scorers with 26, but Johnson from the corner, no good, and here comes Singleton back the other way. 5-point game, Singleton pushing the fast break. Wanted Rivera, miscommunication.
Couple bad possessions for both teams there. Jordan Johnson had a wide open look from the corner, airballed it badly, something we haven't seen from him today. And Ashton Singleton had numbers on the break the other way, pass, didn't find anyone. Here's Zelo, near side wing, guarded by Bodie. Bodie to Johnson, top of the key. Swings it to Jers, guarded by Emmerich. Corner to Lake George. Singleton deflects the entry pass, comes up with the steal, gets it out to Shaw. Regents have numbers. Cavante Shaw to Addison Bodie, off the glass and in. Addison Bodie flexes some muscle. He'll go to the free throw line for the and one.
Cavante Shaw might as well be a puppeteer out there the way he's directing this offense. Hits Bodie cutting to the basket and the foul, and we have ourselves a one-possession ball game, 5:17 to go, and Addison Bodie steps to the line for the old-fashioned three-point play, 75% free throw shooter on the year.
Bodie, the junior college product, looks to complete the three-point play, can't do so, but the rebound hits off of Keller, and it'll stay Rockford ball. Cavante Shaw able to slap that one off the foot of Keller as Rockford will retain possession. 20 seconds on the shot clock. Regents down 3, chance to tie here. 5:17 to play. Emmerich inbound, Bodie, near side wing, top of the key to Shaw, they'll set it up. 15 to shoot. Rivera sets the screen, top of the key. Entry pass to Rivera, off the glass, no good. Bodie cleans it up, and off the glass, Addison Bodie providing the spark for the Regents here.
And 4 quick points for Addison Bodie to cut this Falcon lead to just one.
And a timeout, CUW. Addison Bodie providing a spark for the Regents.
That's probably what he had in mind when he missed the free throw. He knew he was going to get a chance to go with the easy 2.
It's an interesting strategy. I'm glad it worked out.
And you can start to feel the crowd getting a little bit more into this. 4:57 to play. Falcons 70, Regents 69. And we're in for a great finish here inside the Seaver Center.
I believe it's a season high for Rivera, 26 at this point. We'll confirm that for you.
That is correct. Rivera's previous season high, 20 points against Marion. So we've talked about this the last couple of games. When on Wednesday night, it was Nate Shedd coming through with 24. Tonight, it's Jamar Rivera coming through with 26. We've seen Emmerich drop 29. We've seen so many different players step up and so many different opportunities. And today, it is Rivera coming through with the 26 points for the Regents. And that just demonstrates the selflessness of this team. It doesn't matter who's leading the way, as long as the team is headed in the right direction. And we've got a great one on our hands here.
Contributions from so many Regents in this one. Cavante Shaw just 3 points, but 7 rebounds, 12 assists to this point. Brandon Emmerich, 14 points. He's had a handful of steals, couple rebounds, 5 assists. Nate Shedd in foul trouble. He's played limited minutes, but he's contributed 9 points himself, 2 rebounds, 3 assists.
Nothing better than a near double-double from Cavante Shaw, not including points. 7 rebounds, 12 assists. Not something you see too often, but his impact felt in so many ways beyond just putting the ball in the hoop.
Cavante looking for his second consecutive double-double if he's able to pull down a couple more rebounds in this one. All right, CW inbound. Jers spin move, takes it to the hoop, no call, a lot of contact. Lake George had the offensive board, put it up, no good. Rivera pulls it down, out to Singleton. Singleton pushes ahead for Rockford. Corner pass to Shaw. Shaw pulls it out. Now a cross-court pass to Singleton, ill-advised, as Zietlow got a hand on it. Singleton is the last one to touch it as it sails out of bounds. So Regents waste a possession there.
And in a game that it feels like Cavante Shaw can do no wrong, just lofted that pass cross-court. A little bit too errant of a pass there, and it's back to the Falcons. As Keller has it top of the key, hands it off to Zietlow. Zietlow driving in, being defended by Bodie, gets it to Johnson. Johnson drives, one Zietlow. Zietlow right there, up and good. And Zietlow might have the quietest 14 points that we've seen. This is someone that has scored at least 7 points in every single game for this Concordia University basketball team.
Cavante Shaw took a blow to the face on the defensive end. He seems a little shaken up still, but here's the Regents back on offense. Ashton Singleton goes up. Singleton went up for the shot. Mid-air decides to force the entry pass to Rivera. It's stolen away. Here's the Falcons now back the other way. Regents back down by 3. 3:48 to play. Lake George over to Jers. Falcons not looking for any shot early in the possession. Here's Jordan Johnson now. Fakes the shot to Jers. Jers entry pass. Keller goes up with the right hand. Rattles around the rim. No good. Addison Bodie comes up with the defensive rebound. Here's Singleton. Far side baseline. Sideline rather. Corner to Bodie. Now here's Emmerich in the corner. He gets double teamed. Out to Bodie. Bodie had Singleton open, passed it up. Here's Emmerich, fade away, 3 is good!
And Brandon Emmerich knocks down the tray. He wanted that one from the very start, no doubt about it. And we are tied with 3 minutes to go.
72 all here at the Seaver Center. Jordan Johnson has it top of the key. Cavante Shaw guards. Handoff, Zietlow behind a screen. Three-pointer no good. Rebound by Keller. His putback is no good as Rivera pulls it down. Jamar Rivera giving Keller all he's got down there. He's given up about 3 or 4 inches in that matchup, but that hasn't stopped him. Entry pass to Shaw is denied, but Lake George is going to be called for the foul. Cavante will go to the line for the 1-and-1. Regents with a chance to take their first lead in quite a while.
And you see both sides here. They're exhausted. This has been an up and down game.
Tyler, I'm exhausted.
Fast break after fast break. This will just come down to who wants it more. We have 2:45 left here in this basketball game. 72-72. So much on the line here in the NAC conference standings. And you have Shaw stepping to the line, a 72.2% free throw shooter.
Vince Eugene with 4 personals checks back in for Rockford. Cavante front end of the 1-and-1. It's no good, too hard, but a lane violation. Cavante's going to get another shot at it. And I believe it was Jers that was called for the lane violation. So Cavante missed the front end. Catches a break on the violation. He'll try again. For the lead. Shaw's attempt. This one rattles home. 73-72 Rockford. 2:45 to play. Shaw with 1 more free throw attempt. And the Regents, well, Tyler, I'm going to wait for this attempt before I give you the next nugget. I'm not superstitious, just a little.
You're like a Happy Meal with all the nuggets you have, Coach Keener.
Cavante Shaw, back end of the 1-and-1. Shots up and good.
Now let's hear it.
Rockford 10 for 10 from the stripe so far in this one, but as soon as you drop 9 for 9, Cavante misses that second one, and naturally I feel guilty. You know, that would be my fault. So
appreciate that. You and Michael Scott, not superstitious, but you are a little stitious.
Caught the reference. We got a timeout.
And we have ourselves a ball game.
We sure do. Regents on top, 74-72, 2:45 to play in this one. See how the rest of the NAC's doing today.
They can't be having any more fun than we are right now.
Not many do. Illinois Tech on top of Edgewood, 63-57, 2:24 to play in that one. Lakeland on top of Aurora, 95-88, minute 40 left. Dominican has given up the lead as Wisconsin Lutheran has stormed back, 77-70. Lutheran on top of Dominican, 2:05 to play. Concordia Chicago clinging to a 3-point lead, 57-54. Cougars over the Raiders, still 7 minutes left in that contest.
And certainly our eyes pull to that MSOE score immediately above the Regents in the standings. MSOE sweeping Rockford on the season, so having that tie-break advantage there, but certainly would help as Rockford tries to climb back into that 4 spot, try and host that first round of the conference tournament. Could use a little help there from Concordia Chicago to close the deal there.
For the Regents, Brandon Emmerich, Addison Bodie, Cavante Shaw, Jamar Rivera, Vincent Eugene. Rivera with 3 personals, Vince with 4. It'll be Jers who brings it up. Jers, Zietlow, Keller, Perzinger, and Johnson for the Falcons. Jers top of the key, out of Perzinger. Zietlow looks for it. It's not there. Pass out of bounds. Unforced turnover. Rockford will take over. A chance to extend the lead. 2:29 to play. And Tyler, this feels like a big possession for the Regents.
The Regents able to regain the lead over the Falcons, trailing by 4 or 5 points for most of the second half. You can push this beyond a 1-possession game. That's huge here as we approach the 2-minute mark.
Just 2 timeouts left for Rockford. Concordia, Wisconsin has 5. Cavante Shaw gets it to Eugene. Eugene dribbles to the left, picks it up, back to Cavante Shaw, top of the key. Gets a screen from Rivera, doesn't use it. Now to Emmerich, throws it up from the wing, off the back of the rim, no good. Defensive rebound pulled down by the Falcons. Jers brings it up. Emmerich with the fadeaway, deep 3-pointer there. Wasn't far off the mark, can't get it to go. Here's Keller, right side wing, entry pass down to Johnson. Rivera, Shaw, both look at Johnson. Shaw stays as Rivera switched, and Johnson hits the shot over Shaw. Johnson with a little celebration there. I hope he knows there's a minute 40 left and it's a tie ball game. Typically premature celebrations like that don't end up working out. Vince Eugene, far wing. Regents possession, tie ball game, minute 30 to play. Cavante Shaw on the drive, fights through contact, picks up the foul. A late whistle as Cavante fighting his way through the trees. He'll go to the line. Try to break this tie. Minute 26 to play, 74 points apiece. Tyler, if the Regents are able to pull this one out, don't forget about the Jordan Johnson celebration with a minute 40 left.
Definitely something that you would anticipate the Regents using for motivation. Shaw stepping to the line.
Shaw's first attempt, no good. First missed free throw of the day for the Regents.
Don't want to blame you.
No, but you should.
But I will.
Rockford 10 for 11 from the line. Excuse me, 9 for 10 from the line. Cavante's second attempt. Up and in. Now 10 for 11. Regents lead by 1. Minute 26 to play. Nate Shedd back into the game for the Regents. He's got 4 personals as well. Jers to Keller. Keller over to Johnson. Zietlow cutting through the lane. Jers top of the key now. Gets the screen from Keller. Jers on the drive. Picks it up. Corner. Perzinger. 3. Well off the mark. Air ball, but Jamar Rivera can't control it. It's off Rivera and out of bounds. It'll be Concordia, Wisconsin ball. 13 seconds on the shot clock. Just the 3-point attempt was well off the mark. Rockford did not gain possession, so shot clock remains at 13. Inbound pass as Jers gets it to Perzinger, back to Jers. Jers over to Johnson, guarded by Shaw. Jers pulls up for 3. Johnson pulls up for 3, no good. Bodie can't come up with the rebound as Keller, through contact, puts it up and in. Falcons up by 1, 76-75, under a minute to play.
Always tough saving the ball under your own basket. Bodie able to save it, but right to a Falcon who lays it in for 2. And we have a 1-point game. Falcon lead, 40 seconds to go. Emmerich with it.
Here's Bodie now. Looks for Cavante Shaw. Bodie picked up his dribble. Hand off to Shaw. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Cavante's got to go. Jordan Johnson guarding him. And a carry called. Cavante Shaw called for a carry. Wow. Big call in this one.
The first carry call of the night goes against the Regents on the most important possession thus far.
Timeout Rockford.
We have time on the floor. The Regents.
They'll have 1 remaining. 76-75 Falcons. 32.1 seconds left in the ballgame. So there will be a 2.1 second differential shot clock and game clock. Be interesting to see how Rockford plays this one defensively.
It'll really come down to, if you're Coach Riegel, you're going for the immediate steal, of course. And when you have Brandon Emmerich, you like those chances. But then it'll be interesting to see, as you mentioned, how quickly do the Regents foul? Do they put Concordia, Wisconsin on the line? Talked about it a little bit here tonight. Just a 65.6% free throw shooting team. They are in the double bonus, so when they step up, they will have 2. But it's a one-possession game regardless. So with 32.1, barring a 3-point shot by the Falcons or an and one, the Regents will have another possession with a chance to tie it.
I'd be surprised to see Coach Riegel foul here. I think they're going to take their chances, try to get the defensive stop. You use that last timeout to advance the ball. 2 seconds, enough time to get off an open look. We'll see. Couldn't ask for a better finish here. Jamar Rivera, Brandon Emmerich, Vincent Eugene, Cavante Shaw, Nate Shed on the floor for Rockford.
And something that'll be interesting to see here, you have Shed and you have Eugene both with 4 fouls. So if Coach Riegel does indeed decide to go with a foul, if it's a failed steal out of the out-of-bounds play, have to be strategic. We saw the other night a couple of Regents with 4 fouls opting not to foul, and a little bit of back and forth between Shaw and Johnson.
Johnson, Jurst, Karsten, Keller, and Zietlow on the floor for the Falcons. Vince Eugene guarding the inbound pass. Inbound to the backcourt to Johnson. Cavante picks him up. Now Emmerich comes over for the double. Almost came up with the steal. Couldn't quite get there in time. Now to Zietlow as Jamar Rivera will pick up his 4th personal as he fouls Zietlow. So Zietlow goes to the line to shoot 2. Riegel and the Regents indeed do decide to foul. 24 seconds left.
Zietlow steps to the line, 79.6% free throw shooter on the year. Mentioned it earlier, but has scored at least 7 points in every single game this year for the Falcons. Mr. Consistency, Mr. Reliable steps up for 2 free throws to try and push this lead to 3.
First free throw attempts for Zietlow today. First one rattles around, no good. A big miss for the Falcons and for Joey Zietlow. Zietlow misses the front end. 1 point Falcons lead. He's got a shot to make it a 2-point lead.
Have to box out here. Falcons a great offensive rebounding team.
Zietlow hits the
no
second.
doubt.
Rockford will take the timeout. Got to believe they're going to hold for the last shot here unless they have a wide open look. All right, 24.7. 77-75, Falcons on top. Well, in an ideal world, you get Brandon Emmerich an open look, I would think, but you got to believe CW is going to key in on number 2. Nate Shed can shoot the 3. You don't need a 3.
But that's what that first missed free throw by Zietlow does for you if you're Coach Riegel. You're down 2. Obviously, a 3 no longer required to tie this game up. Can drive it in. The drive and kick has proven very beneficial for Rockford here tonight. You have a lot of different guys that can do a lot of different things offensively, so you would assume you focus in on a Brandon Emmerich who has 17 points here tonight, but you have some guys that can hit the outside shot. We've seen Cavante Shaw facilitate this offense and find the open man, so a lot of different ways that Coach Riegel can go with this. You, of course, assume Brandon Emmerich will at least be the first look, but a great opportunity here for the Regents.
Big missed free throw by Joey Zietlow. Gives Rockford a chance to tie or take the lead. Scoreboard still showing Rockford with 1 timeout. I thought that was their final timeout. Let's see if we can confirm that here.
Touched on it a little bit here, but interesting to see. If you're Rockford, you of course would assume that let's run this clock down. Let's drive. 8, 9, 10 seconds left. At least have a chance for an offensive rebound and a putback. But it'll be Cavante Shaw, Mr. Facilitator, to bring it across the timeline.
Shaw with the ball, far wing, 20 seconds on the game clock. Nate Shed in the post. Shed faces up, takes it in, off the board, no good. Rebound rattles around, Keller pulls it down, and a foul called. I believe it's going to go against Jamar Rivera. So Nate Shed on the drive, puts it off the glass, no good.
Looks like they're going to give Keller a timeout prior to the foul.
No foul call. Okay, interesting.
Which you assume Rockford's getting ready to foul right away, so you'll go to the free throw line. Now you're being put into a position where you have to take it out of bounds. Rockford forced a lot of turnovers. Interesting decision there, but it'll be CUW basketball nonetheless coming out of the timeout. Still hope for the Regents.
Nate had a decent look at it, unable to get the runner to go off the glass. Coach Stinson and the women getting ready to get into action tonight as doubleheader here from the Seaver Center. 13.4 to play. CUW ball, They'll inbound from, I believe, the baseline as Jose Trinidad checks in.
And you would have to assume here Coach Riegel taking his trio of Regents with 4 fouls out of the game. That way, whoever is closest
You want to
get
keep
the
those
quick
guys
foul.
as options on the offensive side if, in the event you are able to have a chance to tie this thing.
And very interesting to see, obviously, Rockford going for the quick steal out of the inbounds, but how strategic are they? You look at Jordan Johnson, 83% free throw shooter. You look at Joey Zietlow, 79.6% free throw shooter. How much do they shed?
Unfortunately,
and hedge?
I think with 13 seconds left, you just got to get to the first guy that you can. We'll see. All right. CW to inbound. Inbound pass to Jers, but an off-ball foul is going to be called. I believe it'll go against Brandon Emmerich as he held on to Jordan Johnson. So Emmerich picks up his third personal. Johnson will go to the line to shoot 2. Some confusion here. Not exactly sure what the issue is, Tyler.
Looks like they got it almost straightened out.
I think regardless, it's going to be Johnson going to the line to shoot 2.
Johnson, leading scorer on the season, 4. Conversation about the clock.
I think it may be whether the foul was committed before the inbound pass. Regardless, it's going to be Johnson at the line shooting 2.
Johnson took a little while to get going here. First half, just 2 points, 15 here in the second half.
Rockford does have a timeout remaining. 3 timeouts for CUW, 1 for Rockford. Johnson's first attempt, up and in. 78-75, CUW leads by 3, 12.9 to play.
And perhaps the benefit to the quick offensive possession there the other end, even if Johnson hits this and makes it 4, 13 seconds left, still plenty of time to go down, get a quick shot, and then maybe force one final possession. Obviously, would love to have seen Sheds lay in fall, but there's still time.
Johnson to make it a 2-possession game. Free throw attempts up and in. Falcons up 4, 12.9 to play. Eugene takes it up. Regents trying to get a quick bucket here. Emmerich from the wing, 3, air ball no good. And that's going to about do it as Cavante Shaw fouls Keller. But the Falcons up by 4, and they'll go to the free throw line for a chance at 2 more as this one all but over from the Seaver Center on the campus of Rockford University.
And another tough one for the Regents there, another close battle down to the very end, and with just 4.7 seconds left. Keller steps to the line. Just a 43.9% free throw shooter, but time not on the Regents side. First one is up and long.
CUC leading MSOE by just a point, 72-71. As Keller's second attempt, no good. Cavante waits for it. Tried to save some seconds. Nate Shed throws up a 3.
The bank is open.
All right.
It might be Saturday afternoon, but Nate Shed's bank is still open as he cuts it to 1. Just 0.7 of a second left, but
slight heartbeat for the Regents.
As Justin Bieber might say never here for the Regents.
7/10 left on the clock. Falcons with the ball.
Now I'm sure Coach Riegel making sure a conversation is had by these officials. Let's make sure that clock doesn't tick off too many tenths with how quickly the Regents plan to foul.
Emmerich, Eugene, Shed, Shaw, Rivera on the floor for Rockford. Falcons looking for their second consecutive 1-point victory. They knocked off Dominican on Wednesday. I believe that one was a little higher scoring affair. CW came away with a 90-89 win. So these Falcons looking to win another tight one. Inbound pass to Zietlow is completed, and that will do it as the Concordia Wisconsin Falcons knock off the Rockford Regents. 79-78 your final here from Rockford, Illinois.
Another close one for the Regents. The Falcons of CUW improved to 12-7 on the season, 11-3 in conference. Regents fall under 500, 9-10 on the air, 7-7 in the NAC. Tough loss for the Regents, a lot of opportunities. They had to come away with the win there.
For Rockford, Jamar Rivera led the way. Season high 26 points, 12 of 14 from the floor. For Jamar Rivera, also knocked in a pair of free throws. Kevontae Shaw, double-digit assists, almost had his second consecutive double-double as Kevontae chipped in 13 assists, 9 rebounds, 6 points. Brandon Emmerich, strong effort, 17 points, very active on the defensive end, also had 5 assists and 2 rebounds. Nate Shedd added 12 for Rockford as well. For the victorious Falcons, Jordan Johnson, after a almost non-existent first half, explodes in the second half, finishes the ball game with 19 points, 5 rebounds as well for Johnson. Just behind him, Joey Zietlow, and Tyler, you mentioned it earlier, somewhat of a quiet scoring night for Zietlow, but at the end of the day, 17 points, 7 of 10 shooting, added a free throw, 5 rebounds for Zietlow. Brandon Keller was a big presence for the Falcons, figuratively and literally, as he forced the Regents to do some things defensively with his presence down low. 14 points for Keller in this one.
And you look at the game for the Falcons. Brandon Keller really stepped up, especially in that first half. Jordan Johnson unable to get going, but Keller steps right in with that huge 14 and 7. But for me, player of the game, I'd go Joey Zietlow. He doesn't lead the team in points per game. He doesn't lead the team in rebounds per game. He doesn't lead the team in assists per game. But when you can get 17 and 5 from a guy that's scoring at least 7 points in every game, Zietlow continues to come through. Very quiet 17, but a huge 17 nonetheless for the Falcons. And when you look at the Regents, personally, I'd like to give dual player of the game, because there was no Rivera without Shaw, and there was no Shaw without Rivera, so their ability to connect, 13 assists for Shaw, 9 rebounds, and 26 points for Jamar Rivera. Those two were in sync the entire game, needed just one more to come away with the victory. But a little bit of an update on what's going on in the rest of the NAC.
Regents get a little bit of hope from the Lakeland Muskies. They knock off the Aurora Spartans 101-95. Lakeland comes away victorious. Illinois Tech, showing 4 seconds left in that one, but Illinois Tech over Edgewood 77-70. Benedictine defeats Marion 81-64. Wisconsin Lutheran with 24 seconds left leading Dominican 82-72. And the finish to keep an eye on, MSOE and Concordia University Chicago tied at 73. NAC website shows 25 seconds remaining in that one. Tyler, you got a women's game to call.
Yeah, part 2 of the doubleheader coming up.
About 4:15 start expected for the ladies tonight.
Most importantly, though, above all else, first off, everyone stay tuned in. Have the women's game coming up, part 2 of our double dose of basketball here inside the Seaver Center. But before we get wrapped up here, what the people want to know, you alluded to it at the start of this broadcast with the false start at tip-off. Who you got tomorrow? You got Chiefs, you got Niners. Who's coming away with the Super Bowl?
My head tells me Niners, my heart tells me Chiefs. Andy Reid, likable guy, hasn't been able to win the big one. That Chiefs offense is daunting, to say the least. And it's I think the Niners brand of football is boring to people, right? They do it with the defense, and they do it with the lines, both on the offensive side and defensive side. I think it's a lower scoring affair than most. I think the Niners come away victorious. I think it's certainly a close ball game. I'm going to give you 24-20. San Francisco pulls it out. I think that would be their 6th Super Bowl win. I like Coach Shanahan and the Niners.
Well, personally, for Coach Shanahan's sake, say that 10 times fast, I hope they don't get up 28-3. I don't need Shanahan to deal with that again, an early 28-3 lead. But I'm going Patrick Mahomes, and I'm going, most importantly, Andy Reid, the big lovable teddy bear, gets his first Super Bowl, gets that off of his back and comes away victorious. So we'll see.
Would it surprise you to see the Chiefs fall behind? It seems like they've had a knack for that of late.
It seems like that's part of their game plan at this point. Happens against Houston, happens against Tennessee, get down early, and the late game heroics. So, everything's setting up for that early 49ers 28-3 lead. Shanahan might have nightmares come flooding back if that happens.
You're sick.
Of course, blowing that 28-3 lead when he was the offensive coordinator with the Falcons. But I think we're in for a great Super Bowl tomorrow. I really do.
Agreed. Give me an MVP pick real quick.
Got to go Patrick Mahomes. If I'm going Chiefs, got to go Patrick Mahomes. What about you? A little tougher with the Niners.
I'm going to go a little bit off the radar here. I'm going to go with Joey Bosa. Nick Bosa, whichever one of the Bosas is playing tomorrow.
The Bosa. Well,
I'm going to go with the Niners Bosa tomorrow. Is it Nick?
It is Nick.
It's Nick.
And I love that because you have to assume if the Niners win, it's because
going to be that defense,
it's
right?
because they got after Mahomes. So
a la Von Miller, Broncos-Panthers a few years back. I think Von Miller ended up with a couple sacks, a fumble recovery.
He did. So that's
took home that MVP trophy. So there is a precedent for it.
It's happened before.
And I think if Bosa gets to Mahomes early, we've seen Patrick Mahomes a little beat up at some points this year. I think if Bosa can crumple him early, it might be a long night for the Chiefs.
Not just basketball talk here on this broadcast. Final score, first part of this doubleheader. The Rockford men's basketball team falls to the Falcons of CUW, 79-78. Part 2 coming up of our doubleheader. Stay with us. We'll have the Rockford women's team playing host to those very same Falcons of Concordia, Wisconsin. Appreciate you joining us, and we'll be back soon.